Good morning, everybody from the arse end of nowhere. It's very cold here, so I sincerely hope you're warmer than I am. I'm Gemma, and my plan is to talk to you about having back-to-back babies. I had 3 babies in 35 months. None of them are twins, and every one was planned. And there have been a lot of hurdles over the time from the very first conception through to where we are now. And in trying to seek out information and I guess figure out how to avoid some pitfalls, I realised that there aren't really many people that are willing to talk about it, and whether that's because it's a very taboo topic, nobody really wants to go against the guidelines of waiting at least a year between babies, which then puts you outside really the realms of having back-to-back babies of very quick succession pregnancies, or whether it's because there's a lot of judgment and a lot of was it planned? That's my favourite. Was it planned? Are we allowed to talk about this? Yes, of course we're allowed to talk about this. I'm going to get enormous. We have to talk about this. It's almost like there's an elephant in the room, except it's an 8-pound baby. So, I'm 3 babies into this absolutely wild ride, and I, through trial and error and a hell of a lot of reading, have avoided some of the pitfalls, fallen prey to some of them, and I'm oblivious to others. So I thought maybe one or two of you out there might enjoy, relish the opportunity to get ahead of the game, enjoy having a confidant, somebody in similar circumstances who is just going through it, but trying to do it well at the end of the day. We're all parents. I guess that's why you're watching this. If not, then maybe it's a bit weird, or at least you're planning to, which is slightly less weird. Yes, first things probably first. Who am I and why am I talking to you? As I've said, my name is Gemma. I really do live in the arse end of nowhere in England. I'm perfectly commutable for places that I would need to be if I ever needed to be there, so it's fine. I haven't always lived here. I have moved about quite a lot over the years. Since my mid-teens, actually, I moved around a lot. I've lived in different places around the world. And I always knew that I would have babies. Or I knew that I would at least give it a good go. That sounds awfully whorish, doesn't it? Really, hoops. So in doing that and living my life, I got to a point where actually, for the first time in my life, in my very early 30s, I really was enjoying myself and happy to just see where the wind took me, until I had some health news, which wasn't great. It kind of sped that clock up just a bit more than I was comfortable with. And I already have an underlying autoimmune condition, which has quite significant knock-on effects and generally is well managed. So at least it was really well managed when I decided to start having babies. So on the balance of probability that I just wasn't willing to take any chances, I decided to get the ball rolling. And in 2019, fell pregnant with my first baby, and I had no idea not only what it was like to be pregnant, carry through to term, but how weird the world was going to get midway through my pregnancy. Yeah, so to all the lockdown parents, babies out there, you're in good company. I loved being a mum. I loved those early days. I have been known to say, and I even wrote it down in a diary, that it was the best holiday I ever had, was that newborn period with my daughter, compared to the work and life responsibilities that I'd been previously facing. It was just a breeze, an absolute joy. That's not to say there weren't difficult bits. It's not to say that there weren't bits where I was so tired I was hallucinating, because I was. That did happen, I think, in the first week. I had little black stick man walking across my radiator, but it was okay. I knew it was because I was tired, and it was just all loved up in bed with this cute little thing that was going to forevermore need me. So yeah, it's hard to do that, but I guess how much of a shock to the system it is depends on your previous life experience. And for all the things that I had to adjust to, it wasn't horrific. I had a blissful first newborn period, very much so, so much so that after 3 months decided that it was worth trying to have another one, because if I wanted another one, I didn't have very much time to play with at all. So we did that, and on suspicion that there were a couple of very early losses, I fell pregnant after within 6 months postpartum. And my baby, again, both of them were 2 weeks late. So yeah, my baby was 15 months. My daughter was 15 months when my son arrived, and there was fun and games with her. I wasn't very well after my baby arrived, physically speaking, which takes its toll. But again, I guess these things are sent to try us. I knew what I was getting into. I knew the kind of things that were going to come along with it, and whether I liked them or not is an entirely different matter. Whether that matters at all is up for debate, because really it's not about me at the moment. And I don't mean that in everything should be around your children and you shouldn't look after yourself. That's absolutely not what I mean. What I mean is the primary goal is survival of the infants. So if there are compromises that you have to make, then, or you plural, there are compromises that I chose to make for the survival and betterment of my infants. And I didn't know that I wanted another baby until I had a miscarriage 6 months after my son arrived, and it took me a little bit of time to get my head around it, but I did, and decided to try my daughter, and she arrived 35 months after my first daughter. So it was a condensed mission, but in hindsight, on reflection of the things that have happened during and since, it was meant to be. If I had have waited, I wouldn't have had 3 babies. If I had have waited, I may not have had 1 baby. And the stress and the toll it takes on your psyche or on your body is perfectly manageable with preparation, I think. And planning for the unknown is not an easy feat, but if you're kind of broadly prepared that something can go wrong, then whatever it is, it doesn't really matter what it is. It makes the situation workable. It makes me really sad. I mean, sometimes it's enlightening, it's chuckling. Watching the other channels where people talk about the chaos of toddlers, of infants, of having babies close together, but it makes me sad, if I was to be really honest, that is the prevailing theory, that having small people, or more than one small person, or even just one small person, is hard in a negative way. It doesn't have to be that way, and I guess perception is everything. If you're not expecting that toddlers are going to present challenges, if you're not expecting that having two with competing needs is going to present challenges, then like that falls on us. We should have expected that. It is very logical to expect that. I think having babies when it's medically safe, when it's what you want, close together, can be a wonderful thing. It doesn't have to be chaos and stress and regret and a blur of stuff. It can be a mindful, joyful process. And I guess the first step in that, at least in my experience, is the awareness of what is happening and why, and what is them and what is us, which I guess is really good role model type parenting lessons to pass on to our little people. Something definitely that I strive to impart in my people is the awareness of themselves and the awareness of others and the reciprocal impact. So let's see if we can do something about that. Maybe I won't be successful. Maybe what I present will be a horrific blur that nobody would ever find any joy in but me, and I'm okay with that. But maybe we can change the face of parenting of little people a little bit. Wouldn't that be something? I think I've probably got an awful lot to say. I'm going to try and get through it as coherently and add to it over time as things happen, things change. My babies grow and give me new challenges and new hurdles. Hopefully some of it will be insightful and relatable. And I would really like to hear your thoughts, your experiences, whether it's the same, whether you found the same stuff, whether you wholeheartedly disagree with what I'm doing and why, because I guess that's a lesson in and of itself. I'm probably going to frame this with the burning question of why am I 13 going on why am I 13 going on 30? Why am I 30 going on 13? And the answer is because when my 2-year-old was 1, he headbutted me and cracked a load of teeth. So I now have to bear the consequences of having that fixed, such as the challenge of 1-year-olds who desperately want to be off and don't want to sit on your knee. They won't tell you, they'll just headbutt you. And believe me when I tell you, my 1-year-old, my now 2-year-old, is a chunk. So it hurt. And there has been oral surgery and orthodontics and so on and so forth. So there you go. Without even getting into it, there's a lesson to be had there. Make sure your head reflexes are faster than your toddler. So yeah, it is very early in the morning and I am going to go and get the day started and check in with you soon. Bye.